Hey, folks, welcome back to Chris Wyatt Africa. This is Chris from Central Pennsylvania. Well, the thing about racists is most of them aren't all that bright, and they show their stupidity time and time again. Well, what you see behind me is an image of the Art Institute of Chicago. It's an art museum in Chicago, which apparently is run by people who love to be in the race hustling business. You see, the Art Institute of Chicago has over 1 million square feet of space in which they house nearly 300,000 works of art. But they have zero docents. What are docents? Those are the volunteers who are experienced. You have to get qualified in order to lead people around the museum and help people in the museum. But apparently, visitors to the museum and their well-being and their learning at the museum is of zero consequence or interest to the race hustling people who are responsible for this institution. In the vile city of Chicago, which has a racist mayor who incessantly talks about racist nonsense and gets away with it without being called anywhere on the carpet by the media. On the 3rd of September, 2021, Veronica Stein, an executive director of learning and engagement, sent an email in which she fired 122 docents because they're white. Now, let's be clear. First off, she fired them, but they're volunteers. These people volunteer their time to help the museum and help kids and adults who visit the museum to learn about art. As a sign of gratitude, this racist scumbag institute offered the dismissed because of their skin color docents, who averaged 15 years of dedicated volunteer service at the institute, a free 2-year pass to the Art Institute. Talk about a slap in the face. Unbelievable. Now, Gigi Fafis, who's president of the Docent Council, said, "We were surprised. We were disappointed. There's an army of very highly skilled docents that are willing and ready and able to continue with arts education. Only they can't. Because the woke, racist, race hustlers have to balance some imaginable scale, punishing people who had nothing to do with the supposed grievances." Now, the findings were apparently sparked by the fact that most of the docent staff were composed of older, white, financially well-off women. Oh, the horror. Rich women were donating their personal time to help people learn about the arts. Stein said that the museum needed to take a new path in a way that allows community members of all income levels to participate, responds to issues of class and income equity, and does not require financial flexibility. Excuse me? I thought the purpose of the museum was so that we could all go and look at art and appreciate it and learn about art and learn about life. It isn't supposed to be a patronage location. By the way, the docents came from all walks of life. They weren't just rich, well-off white ladies. Now, the docents sent a letter on the 13th of September detailing the staff had engaged in 18 months of twice-a-week training to qualify as a docent, 5 years of continual research and writing to meet the criteria of 13 museum content areas, and monthly and bi-weekly trainings to further educate themselves with materials, processes, and the cultural context of the museum's pieces. That's a big commitment. Who has that kind of time except people who are not working or who are well off? What is wrong with people well off? Well, apparently the race hustlers who run this institution think that old white ladies have no business there. Now, Robert Levy, chairman of the Art Institute, defended the decision to fire the docents in his own op-ed, a lame article he wrote, and he said that the plan to do so had been in the works for 12 years. Really? Then why did you not notify these people over the last 12 years to find something else to do with their time? In the works for 12 years. What a lame ass excuse. We thought we were being very clear when outlining our plan, but somehow this has been twisted into unfounded accusations of reverse racism, resulting in lewd threats against our staff. We're simply pausing a voluntary education program and would never want to diminish the contributions they've made. This should not be the roots of a cultural war, said a spokesman for the Institute. Well, you're just a lying sack of crap. You're a race hustler. You weren't very clear. You simply fired people and dismissed them after 15 years of average. That means some of these people are out there 20 or 30 years or longer, donating their time to this museum, helping countless generations of Black, white, and brown Americans learn about art. And by the way, there's no such thing as reverse racism, you moron. Racism is racism. No such thing as reverse. You discriminate against someone because of their skin pigmentation, regardless of whether they're white, brown, or Black. You're a racist. This institute is staffed and run by race hustlers. The Art Institute of Chicago's 122 unpaid docents who were let go because they just weren't sufficiently diverse. The Art Institute now plans to hire fewer docents, so there won't be enough, who will be paid $25 an hour. That's a princely sum, especially since They have no training or less training. And they're going to guide people around the museum. Oh, there's a work of art. Can you tell me about it? I don't know. I just make $25 an hour. Now, surely they're going to be more ethnically diverse than the jettisoned docents. Mostly older white women. Some of them were donors. Do you think you're going to get those donations to Art Institute, you morons? Now, once again, Levy insisted this plan had been in the works for 12 years. But if that's true, you're a reprehensible scumbag. They were given no warning, and they were fired in an email. They're volunteers. Unbelievable. By this wretched human being, Veronica Stein. So let me ask this question. What wrong has been corrected here? Has the Institute been denying people of color admission to the docent program? No evidence of that. Now, how does terminating dedicated volunteers actually improve the Institute? It doesn't. Doesn't at all. This is a racial patronage program intended to reward people and punish others based simply on their skin pigmentation. It's pure and simply racist. There can be another explanation for it. As white leftists seek to defend this moronic illegal termination, consider flipping the script for a moment. You ready for this? The Smithsonian's African American Museum has terminated all its black volunteers because the white minority in the District of Columbia is underrepresented. How far do you think that one would fly? Frankly, it's comical and a bit vile to listen to obnoxious white leftists and others desperately try to tar and feather anyone who deigns to point out the obvious whitewashing of America, no pun intended, as a racist when they're not promoting any group's supremacy, but rather stating the painfully obvious in a country where racial hatred and revenge for trumped up, again, no pun intended, grievances are in plain sight for anyone to see. I mean, these racists are not very bright, firing nearly 122 all-white unpaid volunteers who average 15 years of experience to hire people of color for $25 an hour, as if anyone who is not a race hustler will fall for their brain-dead actions. Folks, it's unbelievable. 76% of this country is white, and the incessant attacks on white Americans are vile and disgusting. Endless assaults, murders, rapes, not reported in mainstream media at all. The slightest grievance against a black American reported to endless proportions. If you're going to report one, you report all. Don't simply be cherry picking. This is ludicrous. This is a media hyped up thing, but it is actually an institutional thing unfolding in public, private spaces across this country. 122 experienced, talented, helpful volunteers, many of whom work nearly a full work week, getting paid nothing to help this institute so that children and adults, black, white, and brown, can come to this. But in the race hustling city of Chicago, led by its bizarre and extremely vile mayor, Lori Lightfoot, what else would you expect? Disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. It's a patronage game. That's all it is. Hiring people of color, giving them jobs. Well, I hope you have a good time finding the resources to pay those people $25 an hour, since I suspect a large segment of your private donations just went out the door. Because nobody likes people who pick and choose based on the pigmentation of someone's skin. It's a vile, vile, disgusting, horrific practice. And whether you discriminate against someone who's brown, black, or white, you're still a racist. You're still a race hustler. What a disgrace. In a country where 3 out of 4 people are white. Turn on your television, watch a commercial. There are virtually no white males, no Anglo-Saxon males in any commercial whatsoever. Completely wiped out of commercials in this country. Soon to be wiped out of all shows. Already being wiped out of superheroes. Cultural appropriation takes place all the time. We hear people use this nonsensical term, cultural appropriation. And just tonight, I watched an Amazon advert, Rapunzel, played by a black girl. I don't recall seeing any folks of color in the Black Forest in the 12th and 13th centuries when these oral tales were fashioned. It's German, not African, not African-American. It's cultural appropriation. You think that's silly? So is the same thing as telling a white person who braids their hair that they're culturally appropriating an African norm. It's a human norm. Stop your race nonsense. Homo sapiens are Homo sapiens. Otherwise, they couldn't mix and have offspring. And anything else is just race hustling. So knock it off. Chicago Institute of Art, shame on you. And shame on the race hustlers who did this to these people who dedicated so many years, probably 1,000 years of service to this place. Unbelievable, folks. Unbelievable. You're a disgrace. And they get away with it. The mainstream, fake stream, lamestream media won't even report on this. It's already a 3-day-old story in the media, and it has been talked on. It occurred on 3rd of September. And here we are nearly 2 months later before it starts to make waves because the media covered it up. Why? Because they hate white America, which is odd because most people that run the media are old white dudes. Anyway, folks, that's my assessment of this vile and disgusting race hustling patronage program that's taking place at the Art Institute of Chicago. What a bunch of scum. If you're not a subscriber, why don't you become one? Smash the button right down there, get independent, objective analysis of events in Africa and here in the United States as well. Take care, folks. God bless. Cheers.